This question coming in from Brandon. Where will Kevin Love end up? He's still under contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think for him, it's best to kind of maybe rework his contract or work out a sign-in trade or restructure of some sorts, maybe even a buyout. I think the latter is the most realistic. Come to an agreement on a buyout with the Cleveland Cavaliers and then hop on board a title contender. The Golden State Warriors have been fascinated by Love for a long time. There have been some rumors and speculation the Mavericks could be interested in Love as well, but I think you'd have to get rid of Kristaps Porzingis. Love also, at this point of his career, getting older, injuries starting to pile up. Not sure he's the player that he was back even just a couple of years ago, but I'd just like to see a player who might go to the Hall of Fame just get out of the dysfunction that is currently existing in Cleveland. Kevin Reza, hopefully I said that right. Davion Mitchell with the 7th pick to the Warriors. I'm in. I like it. I think if the Warriors hold on to picks number 7 as well as picks number 14 in the lottery, they want to get guys who can contribute right away because you still have Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green, and this roster is built to win right away. So Davion Mitchell, I think he can play and contribute right from the get-go. Defensively, reminds me a lot of Patrick Beverley and Kyle Lowry. Offensively, because of his tenacity and his aggressiveness, reminds me a little bit of also Kyle Lowry, but has the shiftiness of a guy like Donovan Mitchell. Davion Mitchell is a stud, and I've been saying for a long time he's going to be a top 10 guy. Early on in the process, people called me crazy. Look at all the mocks now. That's where a lot of them have Davion Mitchell going, so I'd like him going to the Warriors at 7. So I named a couple of players that I think the Lakers might draft. Name a player you want your team to draft in next week's NBA draft. We'll, of course, be live for it here on Chat Sports. Get those names in down below. James Bond's son. Warriors package Wiggins, 7 and 14 for Myles Turner. Who says no? The Warriors say no. Why would you give up 2 lottery picks and Andrew Wiggins for Myles Turner, who's a good player, not a great player? Appreciate the question, but that trade scenario and that trade package is kind of ridiculous because Myles Turner is just an okay player. AJ the GOAT, you're the GOAT. Kawhi to the Warriors. Yeah, there have been some rumblings that the Warriors like Kawhi and that interest is somewhat mutual. I think because of the partially torn ACL that Kawhi had operated on within the last couple of weeks because we don't know when that surgery took place, kind of throws a wrench in his free agency status. If he's healthy, first of all, I think the Clippers might have beaten the Suns and they could have very well won the NBA title, but also with him opting out potentially makes the NBA free agency conversation all that much more fascinating. And I think the rumors around Kawhi would have been wild. I think he does opt out, but I think the play for him is opting back in on a 1-year deal with the Clippers. He compiles those bird rights, and then after next year, he's able to be in play for a contract that's going to range between $240 and $250 million. Vihaan Mittal, who was the best package for Dame? Knicks have a really good package. They could put together R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Kevin Knox, and like 3 future first-round picks. In the NBA, you can't package back-to-back first-round picks. The Knicks can, though, because those picks are from other teams, especially the Dallas Mavericks in that Kristaps trade. I like the Sixers. You package Ben Simmons, Tyrese Maxey, Matisse Thybulle in a future first-round pick. That's a pretty good deal. The Warriors are in that conversation as well. 2 lotto picks at 7 and 14. Andrew Wiggins is a salary match. Jordan Poole is a cheap and affordable player. James Wiseman there, of course, as well. Those are the teams that I'm really looking at. The Celtics, if you package Jaylen Brown, I wouldn't for Damian Lillard, but those are some of the teams that have the best packages for Dame. Let's throw the Heat in there as well. And if you want to go Lakers, Anthony Davis for Dame, that's really the only realistic trade option that the Lakers could pull off. Rogue Brothers, always in the chat. Do we have to be a fan to subscribe to the different team channels? I'm a basketball fan, and I would love to sub to all. Subscribe to them then, and help us out here at Chat Sports, because, no, you don't have to be a fan of those team-specific teams, but team-specific channels, I should say. But if you want to stay up to date with all of the latest NBA news and rumors with those respective squads, we now have 6 channels here at Chat Sports in terms of team-specific channels in the NBA. Subscribe to them. Producer Sam Brown doing a good job of putting those subscription links at the bottom of your screen and floating through those. All of those subscription links are also in the description of this video. Lakers Report, Warriors Today, Mavericks Today. We're pushing out multiple videos every week on those channels, as well as Celtics Today. And the good news is, for Knicks fans as well as Sixers fans, We just launched a Knicks and Sixers channel last Friday, already more than 200 subscribers, which tells us there are a lot of Knicks and Sixers fans out there who are hungry and thirsty for the latest Knicks and Sixers rumors. So once again, those links to subscribe have been floating at the bottom of your screen, or they're in the description of this live video. Move ahead in this mailbag with this question coming in from Patrick Norton Jr. Is Moses Moody closest comparison Klay Thompson? I don't think so. I think Moody has more creation ability than a guy like Klay Thompson. And one of the reasons why Klay fits so nicely onto the Warriors roster, guy doesn't need to dribble. Moses Moody can dribble a bit, can create more than a guy like Klay Thompson. And I'm not sure Moody is going to be a generational shooter and one of the best shooters that we've seen in the history of the league. Patrick K., who can you see the Warriors signing this free agency? I think they could trade for Dame, package picks number 7 and 14, as well as James Wiseman, maybe even Andrew Wiggins or Jordan Poole in that deal. I think they could package those picks and some of those players for a guy like Bradley Beal, maybe a lesser package for CJ McCollum. Those are all trades. Free agency, I'm not really sure. It kind of all depends what the Warriors do in the draft. Do they hold on to the picks or do they trade them? Some people might say that if Norman Powell becomes a free agent, because he does have a player option, he might be the most underrated free agent this offseason. Who do you think is the most underrated free agent? Get those names in the comments section. Grayson Wolford, Anthony Davis to the Warriors. What do the Lakers get back? I don't think the Lakers send him to Golden State, nor do I think a trade is all that realistic. We can talk about these crazy NBA rumors all we want, and of course, we bring them to you here on Chat Sports. Most of the times when, they're somewhat credible or we can see a pathway for that to happen, this is not one of those pathways that I see happening. Dre Thalegend, last question on this mailbag. What do you think of Andrew Wiggins taking that next step? I'm not sold on him. I like Andrew Wiggins. I compare him a lot at this point of his career to a guy like Harrison Barnes. Maybe both of those guys are never going to reach the expectations of what a lot of people had set out for them, but I still think they're good players. In Andrew Wiggins' case, he's overpaid, but underrated. Gives you value defensively, pretty good, at least passable offensively as like a third or fourth option. I've seen some super chats come in on our live show. We'll get to those coming up.